What's up, Denver? Welcome back to another podcast. Today, I've got a full studio. We got a couple that just completed their first house hack, and they bought it for less than $5,000 down. And no, it is not a VA loan. So today, my co-host and agent that ran the transaction is Lauren Valinoti. Lauren, good morning.
Hey, guys. Good morning.
Glad to have you back in here.
Definitely excited to talk about this one. This was a really, really cool deal.
Yeah, this one, I know there's some moving parts on here. And it was definitely hard to do during the current craziness of the market, but you made it happen. What did you like most about the deal?
It was a challenging one. It was a very competitive price point out there. And we were able to use the Bank of America grant program to where actually at the end of the transaction, they got a check back, which is pretty cool.
How often does that happen?
This is only the second time that this has happened. The other time was with a CHAFA deal. So not using CHAFA, but the Bank of America grant program just shows the power of this loan.
Yeah. So that means they're actually at the closing table and they walked away with a check, which is awesome and very rare.
Yeah.
But you take checks when you get them.
Absolutely.
All right. So our couple guest today is Will and Dianna. And they are, I think, early 20s, mid-20s?
Mid-20s.
Mid-20s now? All right. But they have a great story because they actually moved out to Denver as part of like their life plan, their wealth building plan to go out there and be happier, build wealth, and just have a great story to share. They're starting their journey, and this house hack was, one of the first major steps to the wealth building component. So guys, glad to have you here.
Yeah, we're really excited to be here.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Thanks for having us on.
So Dianna, give us the quick background because like the story that you guys have on just how you're still so young and how you've gotten such a great perspective on life, I think is phenomenal. And I think it's a message that a lot of other people, especially young people, can relate to because we've all, a lot of people going through like, well, I might not want to do what I originally planned to do from high school and college. So kind of give us a background on you guys.
Yeah. So Will and I went to the same college. We were next door neighbors when we started our relationship. And we graduated from college, got into our quote-unquote dream jobs. We're meeting society's standards, thought we were doing the right thing. But we kind of just looked around one day and we're like, we're really, really unhappy. And I don't want to do this forever. I'm in my early 20s at this point. I want to move forward and I don't want to be stuck in this spot. So we just started looking for more, and that's kind of what led us to real estate investing.
So give what book, what podcast, what idea got you like focused on, more of the kind of creating the life you want in real estate investing specifically?
So I would say, kind of start off, I'm a big YouTube guy. So I, was hearing some stuff about like, financial independence and, once you start down a rabbit hole there, it like, starts recommending a bunch of stuff to you and you can kind of get lost in it. But, start off with a few, just YouTubers that were, younger and doing, investing in real estate and having a lot of success with it. And then that kind of snowballed into, the mentions of bigger pockets. And then, once, as you guys know, once you get involved with there, they have, hundreds of podcasts on all sorts of different things. And
that's like the rabbit hole of all rabbit holes.
Yes. Yeah. So like that, as we were working at, like you said, we were working jobs and I found myself just literally, I worked a couple like mindless jobs that, weren't very engaging. And I would literally just have headphones in all day listening to like real estate investing podcasts. Like how do we make this happen? What are the next steps? And, at the time we're living in California, and the more we came to the realization, it's getting really, really tough. Like especially people our age that don't have a whole bunch of capital, aren't super established to, make that down payment because everything is ridiculously expensive. And there were only like a few parts in California that we could really afford, especially what we were looking for, like based off bigger pockets. I was pretty dead set on like the house hacking idea, but more so about like a duplex, triplex, that sort of route. I didn't really know about the room by room thing much because I would say, I don't know how common that is in California. Like, wasn't something that was like really on our radar. Not until we came here and started listening to your podcast. But yeah, it was definitely, something that we really were not happy with our jobs and just were really looking for something different. So,
and through Bigger Pockets, we actually learned about an organization called One Life Fully Lived, and they have a course that kind of helps you figure out what you truly want in life and kind of shows you a roadmap to get there. So we actually went through that course together. We would do it separately and then review our answers. And it was a really cool, relationship moment for us to grow. But then we were able to get on the same page about what do we really want? And something for us is we love getting outdoors. We love, time, with each other and doing the things we love with our families too. So then that kind of led us into what is a place that we can live at that can provide all of those things for us and not have to travel 6 hours, because that's how it was in California. To drive to Tahoe or the Sierra Nevada mountains, you have to drive 6 hours from the coast where we lived. So then we started kind of like researching different states, and we were choosing between Oregon and Colorado.
And we looked at like even like Montana, Idaho,
Montana.
Like, really like after we like, learned a lot about investing and like where good markets were and stuff that would, long term would be, like growing and, great appreciation and stuff. So, that's kind of how we settled on Colorado, and we were kind of choosing between like Colorado Springs and Denver. Both really have good outlooks on the future for real estate, but a lot of it was dependent on my job. I was applying for a job out here, and it was kind of dependent on where I got located with that, and it happened to be in Denver, which we originally wanted Colorado Springs just because it was a little bit cheaper, and for what we had to work with, that was more what we wanted. But we still were willing to try and make Denver work, and it's proven to be successful so far. So,
but something cool that I wanted to add was Will and I decided that we wanted to move to Colorado. We made that decision. Will applied for a job, got it a month later, and we moved here 2 months after our decision was made.
Wow.
We were
Power
like
of intention, right?
Yeah, we were like, we're gonna go for it, and we know it's gonna make our life better, and we're like, if we get there and it's not what we think, we can just move back. It's not a big deal. We just wanted to try.
Yeah.
And then a year later, we bought our first house.
Because you moved out here about a year ago, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Very beginning of March of 2020. So essentially, another thing that was crazy was pandemic.
Right when COVID started.
2
Exactly.
weeks. We moved here 2 weeks before.
Prior, yeah. So literally, if the pandemic had started and blown up 2 weeks prior, I don't know if we would have made the move, because it was a big step in our life, and with how everything unfolded, I was like, I don't know if I want to travel or go to somewhere completely new, but, and it did make it a little interesting when we first got here, because right when we got here, everything started shutting down. So social life and making new friends is, still to this day, haven't had a bunch of opportunities to do that quite yet. We've made connections through our jobs and stuff, but, as far as just getting out and networking, and, that's been kind of put on the back burner, but something we definitely want to, get into.
But it pushed us to do the things that we came here to do, which essentially was we went camping at least 3 weekends out of every single month.
Nice.
In the summer. And it helped us go do something that we love and get clarity on how we really wanted to do this and get set in that mindset to push to get achieving our goal of buying a house.
And that's a good highlight just about the city of Denver, to be able to have that lifestyle even during a global pandemic. It really just shows that you can still go out and have a great time and enjoy life and get out into nature and not feel like you're cooped up in the house all day.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely. It worked to our advantage, I would say, because we were after college, we're kind of over the whole partying thing. We used, we have some friends still that like to go out and.
Hey, we were not partiers in college.
Yeah, even in college, we were it's almost a task to go out and do all that. So we're being able to still go out in the mountains and enjoy what we love to do. It almost seemed like the pandemic wasn't really a thing, for us. But yeah, it's definitely still a crazy time.
All right, so you guys moved out to Denver about a year ago. Got a new focus on where you want to take your lives, and a big shakeup from what you grew up with, going to college. Moved out here, pandemic hit. So again, life throws you curveballs. You move forward. You're out here camping, getting to know the city, and then I think it was quarter four of last year, I think we got connected. We started talking, and then we all started working together. Kind of find you guys a house hack. When you first started searching for things, what was your criteria? What were you looking for?
So actually, it was kind of had the same mentality from when we came from California, looking for that duplex, triplex. The very standard not standard, but what's big on bigger pockets. What they suggest of if you want a house hack, that's the most ideal way to do it. And, so we came out here with that mentality, and it was kind of we started off just driving around neighborhoods, trying to just get familiar with all the communities and whatnot, and getting a feel for them. And that's kind of when I started looking for podcasts in particular for Denver, in regard to investments, and came across your podcast and listened to the whole Ultimate House Hacking Guide, stemmed me to get the book, read the book, and then I was just kind of the point where I was man, I think this is the company we should reach out to. And at that point we had our first conversation with Lauren, and you guys kind of were saying we expressed our our wants for a duplex and all that, and you're
pop that bubble.
Yeah, exactly. You're
Luckily, you popped that bubble.
Because I was wanting to find something under, because in California, a lot of people that I watched on YouTube are buy undervalued properties in like a higher price neighborhood, put some money into it and get a great return off it after you like refinance. Like the whole burst strategy works really well there. But when we came here, you're like, yeah, it's pretty tough to do, like, especially if you're trying to like conserve capital, do it on a budget, like, it's tough. So, and then you're a big proponent of like the room by room thing. So, I was totally open to that. It was definitely tough getting her.
Yeah, as a couple, because usually the guys are much more receptive to it than.
Yeah. So I was like,
partners.
I threw out the idea. I was like, hey, like, this is a strategy I've learned about that works really, really well here in Denver. And she was like, I don't think so.
I was like, no way. No.
Yeah.
Or, at college, I'm done with the roommates. We're done. But then Will was like, well, hold on. Because he knows I'm a numbers person. He knows I can get it. And he just showed me the difference between your guys' spreadsheet, what our numbers would look like and our returns. And I was like, okay, yeah, I can sacrifice. That is an insane amount of returns. And it accelerates our goals even faster. So I said I can
we were
do it.
comparing like, I would say like 3 2s and stuff to like just like live in it for a year or two, fix it up and then just rent it out right afterwards. And then I was also like, messing with the whole like 4-bedroom, 5-bedroom, and then with the opportunity of, like I just like the options. Like that was the thing that I wanted to like not just pick one house and have it like have to work one way. So what I really liked about like, bigger houses was, a lot of them had basements a lot of the time. You could either like separate into 2 separate units or you could do room by room. Just had those options. So, and like I think that helped you a little bit. I was like, it doesn't have to be like every single room is rented out. Like we could just do one downstairs, keep some privacy, and I think you really started to open up to it, and
Well, when I saw the return, I could not
Yeah.
help myself.
Yeah, because
There's
we're looking at
literally no
like
way.
we're looking at like new build townhomes and stuff, which was awesome. Like I am kind of a handy person, so I don't mind doing work on the house, and like I do get some enjoyment out of it. So it wasn't necessary to get a brand new build for me, because a lot of the new builds, the best I could find was something that was like breaking even, and that worked for me. But I was like, the whole risk versus reward thing was like, it is a bigger risk to take on like an older house, that does need more work, but by the spreadsheet, the reward is much greater. So.
And this is exactly part of the process that we do here, and that our team does is, hey, cool, everyone has their goals and their ideas, and how do we adapt that to market? Hey, let's go out there and just look at properties, run numbers, and do things. And Lauren, before we jump into the spreadsheet here, because we're talking numbers here, as you guys were walking properties, dissecting them, did anything jump out to you as far as like when you noticed like their shift in mindset, what they're hunting for? Like, do you remember like any from your perspective? Days like, oh, the flip switched here, or when they started looking at different properties?
I would say that they already kind of had the mindset of doing the room by room by the time we were going out and like looking. They were very adventurous in the type of property that they were willing to go under contract at. Like Will was saying, he's super handy, which is great. But, they were looking at all different ranges of projects, I can say. And, there's nothing wrong with going in and getting a house, that's older. It's just, you want to make sure that the house has really good bones and it's been really well cared for. The previous owners just have maintained the property since you're going to be holding it for so long, and also putting additional cash into updating it. So it was just really important of walking them through like what to look for on the property, of what's a good fixer upper and like a holder.
And that's something you're great at. Like you know that, then you're great at walking around the property, pointing out potential drainage issues, walking inside the property, pointing out potential cracks in the wall. It could be you're really good at that, and that's a really important part of the process of like understanding, hey, if this has been going like this for 10, 20 years,
right,
there's going to be some deferred maintenance for potential bigger issues down the road.
Right.
And there were a few times that we walked properties and other agents would come in, and I just kind of observe them because I'm just starting to work with Lauren. I just kind of want to see what other people are doing, and it made me realize I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy Lauren's on my team. Like these agents are so not on her level, and that was something that was really big for us. Is we are young, we know we're unexperienced, and we really wanted to work with a team that could really accelerate us as fast as possible. And that's why we're so grateful that we actually found you guys, because that's you guys were exactly what we were like hoping for and wishing for.
Yeah, and it's like, we know like some people get very emotional about buying houses, and like, if like one thing is not exactly how they want it, they're like, no, I don't want this house. Like, and that was like the exact opposite of what we were at. We were like, and that's why we really love working with Lauren, because, she was more of like an investor mindset, when she looked at properties and stuff. So, she knew like what to look for, like what, would be a good return versus like, trying to get into something that's like, too far gone, you know, for the price point. So that definitely gave us a lot of confidence to, you know, put offers in and, you know, keep going for it.
And Lauren definitely caught me being emotional about decisions sometimes. And she's like, this is a great rental. Look at these bones. I'm like, okay, you're right. Like I need to, because, you know, disconnecting from a purchase like this in an emotional way, something that's trained, it's not a natural ability. So we had to practice that. And that's why it was so wonderful to work with Lauren, that she just constantly was kind of like helping us push that mindset.
Have you ever bought something this expensive before?
Nope.
No.
Exactly. And so it's, I mean, emotions come out because you're buying an expensive asset.
Yeah, and it definitely took a while, like, because, like, you know, everyone talks about, like, analysis paralysis. Like, that was definitely me for, you know, I would say a couple of years. Like, because I've been interested in, like, real estate. My family never had any, like, rental properties or anything like that. But actually, I wouldn't say that. Like, my grandma has, like, one in Santa Cruz, and I was just like, wow, like, you're just, like, Airbnb that, like, making, like, you know, it's a very passive investment and making really good money off it. So I was like, and I also had some, like, family friends that have definitely, like, I see their success now, and, like, all I knew was, like, oh, they were in real estate. Like, didn't really ever get too much into it. You know, some of them, like, bought lots and, like, sat on them and, like, you know, sold them later on. But yeah, and I know we both kind of grew up in, you know, definitely, like, nicer homes, and we were kind of accustomed to that. But, you know, like, just educating ourselves, we were learning, like, you know, that really isn't that important to us. You know, it's the value you can get out of it was what we're after. So
it's a different mindset.
Yeah.
It's not your forever home.
Exactly.
You know, it's just an investment property, and you have to kind of put your investor goggles on and think, is the renter going to be happy? You know, what's the vacancy rate? You know, if this wall is cream versus white or something.
And I think it added another layer. I think it added another layer for us too, that we would be living in it. So I kind of had to like be in tune with my emotions and catch my ego a few times and be like, because some of the, I mean, to be honest, the house we bought now, I would never have lived in, but I had to check my ego and say, this is for something bigger than I even know right now for my future. So I'm okay. I have a roof over my head. Everything works perfectly. It's a beautiful home. It's just not what I am used to growing up in California. So my ego needed to be shut down with that.
Well, older Dianna and older Will will appreciate that decision, guys.
Yes.
So let's dive in the spreadsheet here, because I want to jump into the details of the deal. And we're doing a new format here with our deal analyses. We're going to go through a spreadsheet, use that to kind of tell the story of the deal. So if you guys listen to the podcast, you know, these screenshots and notes will be in the blog post. They're also on a screenshot on YouTube video. We'll also do our best to talk the numbers as well. So we actually have two spreadsheets up on here. One is the one that Will prepared before, and we're just going to copy it over to a new spreadsheet, actually plug in the numbers. So I'm going to type in the address, or not the address, but just say 52 House Hack in Aurora. Because this is located near the Fitzsimmons Medical Complex, right?
Yes, yeah, it's real close to light rail. It's a nice, you know, community. Like, definitely, I would say it's a little bit older crowd in it, which, you know, we're completely fine with. It's quiet. It's awesome. The house we got was actually, we learned that it had been rented before by a company. It was like rented out to like 4 gentlemen. I've met the two, like the, you know, really nice older woman that lives next to us, and then another one that lives across the street from us. They like called me over and wanted to meet us like a week after we moved in, and kind of like gave us some details on the property. They're like, oh, we're so happy you guys moved in. It's been vacant for a couple months, and like they gave us a rent. I'm like, oh yeah, 4 really nice young men used to live there. So we're like, cool, like that'll be cool with us renting this out in the future, like, you know.
Oh yeah,
we're making friends with them.
Yeah,
that's for sure. Will's shoveling their driveway and sidewalks.
Yeah, I really like the neighborhood, because like the house, I really like the format of it, and like literally all the houses in that, it's like a tract, so like all the houses in the neighborhood are pretty much the exact same, you know, architecture. So, you know, I would definitely, if this one works out, I would not be opposed to like staying in that neighborhood and just kind of like,
across the street.
Exactly, like, you know, really make some good friends with people around us, and like, you know,
it's a really good little just spot. You know, some people have their opinions about Aurora. I would say this location is prime location. This is where a lot of our other clients are looking, you know, close to the hospitals. Main reason why we like that is because if you're doing a room by room, being close to a hospital system, you are able to, you know, market to traveling nurses that are on like a 90-day rotation, or medical students, and those types of tenants. It's a higher premium tenant. You know, they're not going to do a lot of damage to the property. They're usually pretty quiet, just kind of sit to them like cells. Yeah, exactly.
Definitely our target market is like 25 to 35-year-old, you know, traveling nurses, medical students.
Yeah, so that worked out fantastic.
Perfect for us.
All right, so 1 unit. This is a primary residence. Down payment, 3%, right?
So conventional. Yep.
Yeah, so 3% conventional, which is this is a unique program. Lauren, Tell us a little about this program, because we're gonna mention this throughout the spreadsheet, because it's
Right.
the financing is pretty cool on this.
So we were able to use the Bank of America grant program. This allows two separate grant programs. So you get a $10,000 towards your down payment that you never have to pay back. And then it's also a $7,500 grant that goes towards your closing fees. And again, you never have to pay that back. Really, it's just a income requirement. So you have to make less than $150 a year, which is most people. And then the secondary loan is dependent on location. So depending upon how much income you make, it's on a sliding scale of location where the property has to be. It needs to be in like a moderate income track or a lower income track. So this property fell in the proper area for them to get that secondary loan program.
Dude, that was a great explanation.
Yeah.
That was a really
That was
good
very
explanation.
because it's a complex.
It is
unique
complex,
program,
yeah.
Right.
So,
Right.
Yeah.
So all in all, it's $17,500 free money that you get to use towards your payment.
Yeah.
So 3% down. Mortgage insurance. What's the deal with mortgage insurance on this?
Then they also have a program that there is no property mortgage insurance. The rates are extremely competitive, which you'll see when we put that in there. It's you keep asking yourself, what's the catch? You're waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Yep.
But we have quite a few clients that have used this that are very numbers driven, and they've compared conventional loan programs versus this, and it's come out that no PMI with a very low rate, 30-year fix with $17,500 worth of free money. There really isn't one. I guess the only caveat here is you do have to claim that income on your taxes.
Yeah. So
Because basically you'll get a 1099.
I think so.
next
Yeah.
year,
So
right?
it'll be like I calculate it's like between like $3,000 and $4,000 we'll have to pay tax on that, but
Which we can make in a few months in rent. So
yeah, for like,
Like,
you still walk
yeah,
away with
ideal.
like 15 grand.
If you
of
guys
free
give me
money.
$17,000, I'll write you a
Yeah.
check for $3,000
Yeah.
right now.
Exactly.
Exactly.
It's an easy decision.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do here, we're going to select on the spreadsheet upfront single paid, and then it's going to auto calculate the upfront mortgage insurance, and we're going to zero it out a few cells down the road. Purchase price. So Lauren, I know this was a complex transaction. Tell us what was listed at and the story behind how you got it under contract.
So this one was listed at $330, correct? And we came in strong. This is, I think, their second offer putting in. So we've gone through the whole song and dance of, going over list, appraisal gap, inspection. It was a investment firm that owned it. They were selling it as is. And so we went in at $350. Not waiving inspection, which meaning they can do their inspection, but their only right would be to terminate. Is that correct?
I think so.
You did
yeah.
that? Okay.
Yeah.
They'll just to terminate, not really object to anything on it. And it ended up, there was 2 cash offers on it. And of course, they, as the investors, they ended up taking that. But I had just built a really good rapport with the agent. She was, been in the business for a while. I think she just really appreciated, the camaraderie that I was creating with her, and really sold the story as much as I could, first-time home buyers and really wanting this property. So we got her on our side. But, she called me and just said, hey, really was pulling for your clients, but my clients are going to go with a cash offer. And I said, well, great. Well, keep us in mind. Let us know if anything changes. And sure enough, I think it was like a week or 2 weeks, I think a week later, she called me and said, all right, I think we're going to fall out of contract. Are your clients still interested? And so we're like, absolutely, let's do it. Called them. And then she, pulled, she told us that they weren't going to put it back on the market, but of course they did. And going back on the market is kind of, it's hard for a listing to get all that momentum at the very beginning. So we were able to, I think on Sunday, go under contract with our initial offer.
Something kind of cool to mention here is during this, we were moving so fast, and Lauren was like, this is a really competitive price point. We need to move as fast as possible. So Will and I worked behind the scenes to say, what exactly are we looking for? What does it need to cash flow for us to be okay with? And what type of repairs are we looking for us to just, because basically Will's working full time. My job was more flexible, so I could go to showings, but I'm FaceTiming Will the entire time. And I'm like, see, this is kind of an issue. This is an issue. And this first time we put in an offer, Will had not even walked the property. So then we didn't get it. The second time when Lauren called us that day, I think you called us at like 8 a.m. and we're like, this is back on the market. Let's go look at it again. Let's put in an offer. And we worked it out so Will could like rush from work, walk through it. And then we looked at Lauren like, let's do this.
It was definitely like the best property we had seen, like that we were like, well, exactly what we're kind of wanting. Like, so, we're super excited that it came back on the market and, worked out great.
Good. So obviously did not go under list price. Was it $350?
$350, correct?
All
Yeah.
right. And so we're gonna plug in some acquisition cost numbers here, and it's gonna get wonky with this program here, but we'll make numbers work, and it's good enough for getting the gist of it. Acquisition cost was about $4,600. Inspection, appraisal, closing cost fees, radon test, just all that stuff.
Furnace money. Yep.
Loan costs. It's hard coding about $1,540. We'll leave that in there. Upfront mortgage insurance is showing at $5,432, which you guys not pay. So we are going to zero that out. Should we do it in seller credits or just repair costs?
You can do it in repair costs because there's going to be a few numbers we need to put in there. So it's going to be that PMI, that 5432.
So I'm putting
plus.
Oh, sorry. How's it?
Go ahead.
Initial repair costs and B32 just putting equals negative 5432. So we can zero that out and just basically offset that. So it'll get good enough. And then speaking about now, since we mentioned initial repair costs, let's talk about the inspection. I'm assuming you guys still did inspection on this property, right? And was it just inspection termination, no inspection objection?
That's how I remember it, but we were actually able to go back and negotiate some items on it during inspection. Something happened with the toilet upstairs, the sewer
I think the water
line.
was off when we first went through.
Yeah.
So we're like, oh yeah, it looks great. And then
That's what it was, yeah.
And then
'Cause a lot of investors, during winter, they'll turn, if it's an
yeah.
unoccupied property, they'll turn the water off. And up the upstairs, the main level floor toilet, there was a leak in the sewer line. So day of inspection, I called the agent and just let her know, anytime there's an active leak, we always call the agent right away to go over there and figure everything out. And so there was a sewer line leak up in the toilet. So they repaired, they put a whole new...
So at the toilet, actually, in the sewer?
Yeah, I think it was the wax
At
ring
the
was
t-
bad
yeah.
or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And but they couldn't get into the clean out they installed, and it was kind of gettily done. So they ended up putting in a whole new sewer line clean out, which is great too.
Oh, yeah.
But it kind of opened up a chance for us to go back and ask them for things, and the radon ended up coming in high. So the seller ended up also paying for half of the radon system.
Yeah.
And radon systems, usually about $1,000, right?
Yeah.
Just, okay.
A little under 1,000, yeah.
So you guys got a credit for that radon system, or
We
did
did.
the sellers install it?
Yes.
Okay.
We had a credit. Yeah.
So
We had it installed a week or two after we moved in. So
perfect. So radon system, fix the
Fix the sewer
toilet,
line.
toilet sewer line. What else? Anything else major on inspection?
That was it.
that was
Okay.
it, yeah.
Yeah, those are the biggest things there that they fixed. I think on the property where the carport is on the side of the house, there is some sunkenness in the concrete. So water, if it's just that the drainage is going towards the house a little bit. So that was the biggest thing I was just pointing out to them, that they need to, either get that mud jacked up to ensure that water is rolling away from the house. So that was something that we needed to address too. And then just some cosmetic stuff internally.
Cosmetic stuff. And then I think we talked about one of the rooms doesn't have an egress in the downstairs. One does, but the other one doesn't. So that was a forecasted cost that we were thinking, trying to factor in that in order to get it all rent ready. That was something that we had to be prepared for as well. But
because you guys are doing, let's talk about this, because you guys are doing some renovations on here.
Yes.
I've seen some photos of your paint gun and some other stuff. So what's the quick rundown on the rent ready cost?
So we're trying to budget because with this grant program before, because even when we started looking with Lauren, we didn't know about the grant program. It wasn't until halfway through our search that I think you had heard of another client that took advantage of it, and you're like, hey, if you guys are willing to like look for low to moderate income tracks, like, this is a great program. And like we started running the numbers on it, we're like, holy cow, like this would like completely change the dynamic of it, because with the amount of cash we had, it would have basically gotten us, into a property with a standard like $20,000 down payment. It would leave us a little bit for repairs, so it was going to be really, really tight. But with the grant program, we were essentially able to probably keep like 80% of our capital, which definitely took a big load off our shoulders of issues that come up. Like I was stressed, like, oh god, like I don't know if we'll have enough money after the fact to like do all those.
But it fast tracked our goal of cash, like where we wanted to get cash flow wise, because before we were thinking, okay, we only have enough money to really break even. But since we had this grant program come into our life, now we were able to go for the property that we wanted the cash flow on, that was like our actual goal, and have the money to put into it the way that we wanted to.
Great.
So for that grant program, on the initial repair cost sale, we also need to add in that $17,500, which will account for covering the down payment and then additional cost there.
All right, so we have all that in the initial repair costs, which comes out to like $23,000, showing your total investments negative $860, which isn't quite correct.
Well, I think that's pretty close, because then there was like one other like $450 credit for something, because we ended up walking away from the closing table with like roughly like $1,200. So I think But
that was,
was
all in. You guys were on for about 4,500.
Yeah, so that's after. Yeah. So that's like we started off. We put in 46 and then walked away at the end with 1,200. So roughly it was like somewhere around like 35, 36.
So I'm just going to put in plus 5,000. So that way your total investment's around 4,000.
Yeah.
Change.
Yeah.
It'll just help with the numbers.
Yeah.
Again, this is it's to get it good enough so we can explain it. So $350,000 house, all in for under $5,000 with a check back from closing. So amazing. Going on down, interest rate. What's your interest rate on here?
2.75.
2.75, 30-year fixed. Now, rental income, because I can't remember if we talked about this, is it before the podcast or during, but it's a 5-bedroom, 2-bathroom. What's that? What's the plan there for renting it out?
Yeah, so we're actually, the bottom kind of has 2 suites in a way. There's a living room off of each bedroom downstairs in the basement. So we're actually planning to kind of section those off and rent them out at a premium cost, because it's like you get your own living room and a bedroom.
And is there 1 bathroom downstairs?
Yes.
So private bedroom, private living room / office, and a shared bathroom with 1 other roommate or tenant.
Yes, just
Okay.
in
And
the
it's a full
base.
bath?
And we're also going to put like a tiny little kitchenette down there with another fridge and some area for them to like do breakfast if they want
great.
to.
So Jeff White's advice to
Yeah.
have like a separate little like spot for like even like just a fridge, like somewhere where they can kind of do their own thing, like definitely helps alleviate some of the craziness of having to use 1 kitchen for 5 tenants. So
Sink, mini fridge, microwave,
something like that.
maybe a
Yeah.
hot plate,
Yeah,
Maybe,
something like that.
yeah. And then upstairs, do you want to
Yeah, the kitchen is definitely like pretty outdated. It's kind of a weird layout. We're gonna try and utilize, like just refurbish. Some of the cabinets are already there. They're definitely, I think, from 1958 when the house was built. They're all, actual wood, and so we're plan on sanding them down. Putting some new fixtures on them, kind of freshen them up. We'll have to add a little bit more cabinetry and stuff to the other side of the kitchen because it's pretty bare. Just to add that extra space for storage for all the tenants and stuff, and gonna try and organize it to where each tenant has like their own cabinets and stuff to like really make it as confrontation-less as possible for the people living there. So
What's cool though too is the downstairs basement, there's like a private entrance in the back of the house, so you can walk up the
great.
driveway.
Yeah.
There's the back door, and then the hallway that leads right into the basement is right there. And then what's also great about this layout is right off of the back door, the kitchen is right next to it as well. So the kitchen's kind of the heart. Everybody has access to the kitchen in like different ways to where, no one's having to walk through y'all's upstairs living space to get to the kitchen. So really, if you wanted to shut it off and have it completely separate, the common walkway area is the kitchen, which is really great too.
Yeah,
So-
we love this house.
and that goes back to like those options that we were really played in a key factor
Oh,
with
yeah.
this house.
Yeah.
Like it had could do it, like we talked about doing an up down, like because originally like our thought process, like if we run it out as a single family home, like to 1 family, like it would pretty much break even. If we
Well, like $25, $26 a month. In the
yeah,
rent?
like I think like the standard rental rate for like we found was like $2,400 a month for that area, and that's basically what with mortgage and all the utilities we're in at per month. So If one family breaks even, if we were to split it up in like an up-down kind of thing, it would, cash flow a little bit better. And then obviously the best case scenario was room by room. So it's definitely like, we're still in the weeds of it. We're going to go through it and see how it works out. We're, learning as we go. But those options are awesome. Gives you something to fall back on.
So you have a rent here of $4,000. So this is for after you move out, right?
Yeah, that's after we move out.
Okay, so what's the plan? You're doing just room by room rentals?
Yeah, so we're thinking like roughly like $700 a room for the 3 upstairs rooms because they do share 1 bathroom upstairs. There is a living room that will be communal. We will furnish that. We've still like gone back and forth on like if we were going to furnish all the rooms, depending on if we do like go like an Airbnb route or a furnish finder. But we're thinking, we're probably only going to furnish the bedroom. Or not the bedroom, but the living room, and then they'll bring their own furniture into the bedrooms. And then for the downstairs, since they do have their own private, like those suite things we're talking about, we probably won't furnish their living room areas. We'll let them bring like whatever they want to, just put in there. But yeah, so it'd be pretty low cost.
Downstairs?
What's the rent for downstairs, do you think?
So downstairs, we're thinking one suite is a little bit bigger than the other. So we kind of like originally were like, we'll do 1,000 each, but it could be either like 900 and 1,100 or like, based off, somewhere around there. But like roughly I'd say like $1,000 a piece for the downstairs ones.
Okay.
All right. Times 1,000 per room. So $4,000 a month. And while you're living there, you guys are going to medium-term rental the downstairs?
I think so. That's the plan. We once we get the kitchen kind of like where we think it needs to be, so like it'd be comfortable for other people to be living there as well. Because like right now we're pretty much maxing out the cabinets that are there, and it's kind of tight for us just because it really doesn't have a whole lot in it right now. So once we get that kind of set in stone, we do want to. We have the first week we were there, we repainted the entire upstairs just to like make it feel a little cleaner, and so it would we'd feel good about living there. But once we get the downstairs kind of painted, a little more set up for it, we definitely are going to try and, because we've been talking about it. We're like, how do we get into the next property? Because right now, currently we can afford it, it's going good, but like, aren't really able to save a whole bunch. But, we had this conversation like, what will it take for us to have that down payment and, like those reserves to be able to get in the next property comfortably. And, if we were able to rent out the downstairs for $2,000 a month, that could literally, if we could just save that and like, be paying what we're paying right now and just put that in our savings, like that alone would, in a year or two,
Perfect.
like get us into the next property easily. So
vacancy, you're running at 8% for room by room, right?
yeah.
Yep. And I've had some clients over there, they've actually said their vacancy is close to 0 over there.
Mm-hmm.
If you can time it with the students and the whatever types, all the different programs over there.
Mm-hmm.
So I like running higher, more conservative, but hopefully it comes in a lot lower than this.
Uh-huh.
Rent increase 3%, annual appreciation rate 5%.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's all just not going to impact cash flow. Property management is going to be a no since you guys are doing room by room.
Mm-hmm.
So drop it down to there. Monthly maintenance for reserves 5%, 8%. What do you guys want to run it at? Because you're doing a lot of stuff right now. This is one of those things in debate about where, hey, do we want to like average out for the long run? But also, since you guys are living there, you guys are doing a lot of work. You're doing a lot of things to make it tenant proof and just minimize, small things from breaking that add up $100, $80, $200 here and there.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, what was nice about getting the grant program is, I think we put in 5% for monthly reserves, but because of that grant program, we were able to preserve a lot of our capital, as I was saying. So we essentially set up a reserve account from day one with like, I think $10,000 in it just to like, have, so like that way we don't have to like keep adding to it each month. It's kind of like there for when we need it. Like if we have to break into it and like, need it, we'll obviously try and like, replenish it. But we're able to set aside a reserves budget. And then also we set up a different account with just our renovation budget. Mm-hmm. So like we put like essentially like another 10,000 into an account and like, hey, this is what we're hoping to only have to spend on the house. We know real estate can go down, depending on what you do and how crazy you get, it can cost you a lot of money, but trying to be as frugal and only do things that are necessary. So, so that's been another great aspect of the grant program is, don't have to like worry about having money to like put into that. So, it's a awesome little deal.
Great. So we'll run this at 8% to be conservative.
Mm-hmm.
HOA, no, right?
Nope, no HOA.
Yeah, no HOA. Taxes, $2,400 a year. Insurance, $1,200.
Mm-hmm.
That's the actual.
Yeah, so
Great.
that's based off.
Nice.
Utilities, $1,500 for water and sewer is the estimate.
Yeah.
Is that kind of looking so good so far in the first month or so you're there?
I was like trying to like go off like our bills and like then like update the spreadsheet, but I was thinking, I was like, when we have 5 people in here, it's definitely gonna be a different cost. Like they're gonna be using more. So I got these numbers based off an example that you did on a 5-2 in Aurora. So these are still like a forecast of, because we're not paying this much, but I wanted to like, again, run the numbers conservatively. So we, at least knew worst case scenario, what it can come down to.
So 400 trash, 2,400 a year for Excel, and then you're providing Wi-Fi, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So
what's your actual bill for that? Because I think an example I put 600 a year. That might be a little bit low depending on.
I think that's pretty spot on. We pay like
Really?
50 bucks
Okay.
a month.
Yeah.
So,
Cool,
it's
perfect.
Pretty
it comes
cheap.
out pretty much on point.
Cool. So that's all the operating data. I'm going to save this to make sure we get on the website afterwards. Cash flow. All right, so we got the cash flow tab. All the numbers are restated here. So it shows your total annual expenses about $12,000 and change. Which we subtract from your annual rental income of $44,000 to give you an NOI of just under $32,000. Your mortgage payments of principal and interest and no PMI is about $16,000 for the year. So you're going to be cash flowing like $15,000 a year, which is
pretty crazy.
yes.
Yeah.
I mean that's $1,000 plus a month.
Yeah, we looked at the 10-year projection within this spreadsheet, and at 10 years, if we did what we're doing and, not even increasing rent over time, one of us can quit our jobs.
That's
just
awesome.
with one property.
Yeah, and that's definitely like I would say like somewhere between 5 and 10 years is, get to the point where we can transition fully into this and not have to deal with, working on our 9-to-5 jobs as well at the same time, and really just, focus solely on it and put more into it at that point. So
great. So I mean, you gotta be thrilled about that number right there.
Yeah, that is what I think got her on board with the whole room by room.
And here's where it just gets stupid. We don't get percentage numbers.
Oh yeah.
Because I mean, you guys know we use that return on investment quadrant, which kind of shows the 4 quadrants on here. And what that does, that bottom number, the denominator, that's the total initial investment. For you guys, it was like $4,500. So when you're making cash flow of $15,000 a year, that's the numerator, 15,000 divided by 4,500, gives you a 366% cash on cash return. Yes, 366.9%. So you guys so far have the record for the craziest percent I've ever seen on the podcast.
Hey, that's good.
Appreciation is 422%, and that does not mean the house appreciated 422%. It means the appreciation 5% times $350,000 is $17,500. 17,500 divided by 4,500 is going to give you that 400% plus return. Debt pay down is 178%. Depreciation is 83%. So altogether, that's like 1,051% in return. It says in year 1, obviously this will be year 2 once you guys move out, but it'll be pretty close to that. And your total return is gonna be like $43,000 with all 4 of those combined. Cash flow $15,000, appreciation $17,000, debt pay down $7,000, depreciation $3,500. These are stupid great numbers.
Yeah, that was
I know.
that was like
It's
when we were
ridiculous.
comparing like options, we were like looking at new build townhomes and like going down that road, and I was like, they're like breaking even. It's like it came down to me like the whole risk versus reward thing. I was like, this would definitely be a riskier investment. A house that needs more work. It's going to be more intensive, doing room by room, more tenants to manage, but
That doesn't lie.
yeah, and like we're like it's going to be hard, it's going to be stressful, and it's proven to be a lot, but. We're still in it for the long haul, and we're learning day by day. It's been awesome. There's things even now like working on the house. Like one thing I've learned is one of the worst things for a house of this age is to not have somebody in it for months on end, and that's what we're kind of facing right now. We're starting like little leaks are springing up, like our sink got clogged, our like bathtub drain is now leaking down into
so
laundry.
it's not all glorious.
Yeah,
but
like it takes work, but
But
it's
from a rental standpoint, it's better you
Yeah.
guys deal with that now because you
Exactly.
feel way cheaper, hands-on.
Exactly.
You get all that little crap figured out and fixed up, and then when you move out, you should hopefully be
pretty problem free.
Yeah, and I think something that's important to note about finding returns in this way is Will and I actually spent a lot of time playing with a spreadsheet and nailing down to the T exactly what we wanted. I've mentioned this before, and the cash flow that we wanted, and nothing less than that. And that's why like Lauren was such a wonderful agent to work with, because we told her exactly what that was, and then she hunted for it and she made sure that we got it. She was aggressive in a very positive, wonderful way for us.
I do want to know, this was probably a once in a lifetime deal.
Yeah.
This was right before all of the craziness with the market. Do you think if this house was on the market tomorrow, do you think that you would be able to get it the same way that you got it?
I don't know.
I don't know, because it seems like things are kind of turning around a little bit. But because we were in like the heart, this is
No inventory. No.
end of January, like the heart of when it was the worst. So I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I don't know, Lauren, what do you think?
I mean, I think like in today's market right now, like today, I think this would go for a lot more.
Really?
We didn't have to do an appraisal gap on this one, right?
Um,
I have to go back and look.
think-
But that's a big thing right now, is being able to provide that appraisal gap. You know?
Yeah.
I
So-
think we did, but it appraised right at
Yeah.
value.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think the other thing too was like, I don't know if our original offer, we like said we'll put an offer in for 340, but we'll flex up to 350 because we knew like that's kind of what these houses were going for. We knew like this is not going to go for 330. Like that was just
Right,
insane.
right.
Yeah.
So, and we knew like there was a couple of offers at 350. I think they had let us know that. So we're like, we'll go to 350. Like that's fine. They did eventually like, go with the other offer at first, but yeah, it ended up working out, and it's we're definitely stoked
We're
on
insanely happy about it.
it. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, guys, this has been a great deal, great for the podcast. And one more thing that I want to mention out here, because a lot of our followers are going to see a lot more of Dianna, because I think that I might butcher the timeline here, but you guys closed on this property, and then I think, I don't know, a couple weeks after that, we put we put our job posting out there for a new social media manager as we wanted to expand. And you reached out, I don't know, a few weeks after the closing or a few weeks after this, which was great. And then, great fit for you, great fit for us organization. You've been working with us now, I think, for like, 6 weeks from when we're recording this podcast, and it's going great. So Dianna is just, she has the abilities, the resources, the experience to get out there and get really active on social media, which has been our goal for a while. But she's taken up, and so she's gonna be doing a lot more on YouTube and social media. So Dianna, glad to have you on the team.
Yay.
And heads up, you're out there, you're seeing a lot more of her.
Yay.
Do you want to give a plug, Dianna, for what your vision is, what people can do? I know you got some promotions starting to, percolate in the mind.
Yeah, so maybe this is a good time to pitch the book coming out. We're gonna start prepping to launch our 2021 investing guide. And another thing is, if you just want to find us on social, you can just search Envision Advisors on Instagram, and we're also on LinkedIn. And definitely check out our YouTube channel, because it's bomb.
Yeah.
It's bomb.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I'm a big proponent of the podcast. Obviously, hopefully have found it to this point so they can be listening to this one. But that was a great resource for me to
Good.
really, gain the confidence, learn a lot, and really, make this vision a, real life kind of thing. So
Love it. Well, Lauren, Will, Dianna, any final thoughts or comments before we wrap up here?
No. I think you guys did a great job. That
Yeah.
was awesome.
This was
you don't see these kind of numbers all of the time. So this
Yeah.
was really fun to build a run.
yeah, we're definitely gonna keep trying to replicate this as best we can. It's it was kind of like a once in a lifetime kind of thing, but we're gonna keep shooting for it. So
It's a great launch
We'll
off
find
point
it.
for
We'll
us.
find
Yeah.
it.
All right, since you guys are investors out here, house hackers, wasn't the best time to come out here and network and make friends. What's the best way for people to reach you? Because there's going to be a lot of other like-minded people. That might be a great way for you guys to start connecting and do some virtual networking. So how can people get a hold of you to talk about real estate, or just say, cool, those guys sound cool, I want to go camping with them, or do whatever? Like, what's a good way for people to reach you?
I'm pretty active on Instagram, and my Instagram handle is Dianna Dawson, with 4 A's in my first name. And then we're also trying to be better about LinkedIn, so you can reach out to us on LinkedIn too.
All right, and we'll put those the handles and everything in the show notes.
perfect.
Guys, this has been great. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. It was a
Awesome.
pleasure.